Well, hello, it's Wednesday, so it must be time for Woolly Hats Wednesday Whips on a Wednesday. Yes, I know, I haven't forgotten this week. So, definitely November now, the wind's blowing up. It's still not too cold for November, but nights are definitely drawing in and lots of knitting and crochet time. So, I thought this week I'd show you my project I'm doing for Christmas, or one of my projects I'm doing for Christmas, because I've nearly finished. So, here is one of them. So this is a Christmas stocking for Thomas. And this one is a Christmas stocking for Charlie. So both of these stockings are using Fair Isle technique. So they're knitted in a conventional way, cuff down sock that you might be familiar with. But what I've done is used what they call an afterthought heel, because that way you can carry on the Fair Isle pattern without it getting discombobulated with your heel flap and turning the heel. So it carries on like that. So the afterthought heel, all you do is you do a big long tube and then you use a piece of waste yarn to do half of one row, and then you take that out, put the needles in, and then finish it off just as you would a toe. So the toe is SSK or double knit, double two together on one side and SSK double on the other side, so that you've got 4 cast-offs at each side of the toe. So this one is as a for Thomas, and he's got snowmen on and holly and little hearts and a nice candy cane stripe and some more hearts and some more holly bits there. And then this one, I've got to sew in the ends on this one. This one's got little stars on it, or snowflakes, and he's got reindeer, and then Christmas trees and some holly and holly berries. And what I should be doing with these, I should be adding a few more things on. So I'll put the eyes of the snowmen in, put with some little beads and some sparkly stuff as well. I might put in a scarf on one or two of them. And then on this one, I might put some Christmas decorations on the tree. So the idea of these is they aren't to be worn. Yes, they're too big to be worn, but there'll be lots of room for presents for the children to have on Christmas Day. Now, I did the heel here red and this in green, so I'm going to undo this and do this one red, because I think I prefer it as red. So the top's red, heel's red, and the toe will be red. So I've got a little bit to do that. I was a bit enthusiastic with the old green. So this is all Fair Isle technique, which is something I love doing. And Fair Isle, you will only ever use 2 colours at a time, and you get a repeated pattern all the way across, so you don't get big back gaps. So that means that when you turn it inside out, it looks a bit like that. So you can sort of see the pattern, but you can see that the yarn is carried across, or the strands are carried across. See there? Sometimes Fair Isle is called stranded knitting, because not all stranded knitting comes from Fair Isle. There's Icelandic and Norwegian and various others. But the principle is the same, is that you carry yarn across and then knit them as you require. But when it's repeated, you don't have long gaps. That's called intarsia if you have doing like pictures of things. But this is Fair Isle or stranded knitting. So I quite like this, and because I've taught myself how to do continental knitting, I have one yarn in one hand and one yarn in the other, so that I can use each hand to do a different colour, and it works out really well. So nearly finished that. I will finish these by blocking them. So I'll soak them, not to soak them, but I'll spray them with cold water, lay them out and pin them out. The normal blocking things I've got for socks are a bit small for these, because these are quite big. So I'll put spray them, soak them, lay them down on a towel, pin them out, so that they will have a nice look when they're finished, rather than a just knitted look. And then I can send them off to Charlie and Thomas, and hopefully Santa Claus will find them and put lots of things in there. So that's rather good stuff, and mid-November, definitely well before deadline. So the pattern I'm using, it's called Fabulous Fair Isle Christmas Stockings, and this designer, I can't remember who actually did the pattern, but I got it off Ravelry. And if anybody wants a link, then I can send it to you. I did pay for it. It's not a free pattern, but it's quite a nice pattern, because you can make it up what you want. So they've got lots of different designs that you can use. There's the heart and the Christmas tree. And you think, well, it's upside down. But if you do knit your sock, you start from the cuff down. So things are upside down when you knit them. And then there's the reindeer. And we've got snowmen there. And there's a rocking horse. So lots of big ones and then lots of different things. And very handily, she's got a chart for doing letters so that you can then do your charts for your letters there. Otherwise, you might get mixed up. And I did have to think very hard about this, otherwise I might have spelt the names wrong, which would be terrible, wouldn't it? I'd have to do it again. So lots of handy tips and little links to videos. So she does a selection of ribs and things like that, and links to video guidance as well, and quite a good little pattern if anybody's interested. So there you are. Have a little plan your stocking, so you can choose what you want to do. I did some planning and then I sort of made it up as I went along, which is very naughty of me. Anyway, so the yarn I've used is it's all wool. It's West Yorkshire Spinners Colour Lab, and it's 100% British yarn. And the reason I've used that is because A, it's a special project, but also B, when you're doing Fair Isle, you need a yarn that holds together. So if you have a too smooth a yarn, and sometimes a superwash yarn is that, or acrylic yarns, some of the really smooth yarns, then when you're doing your Fair Isle, you tend to get a bit of slippage and it gets a bit holey, especially if there's large gaps between. So that's why I preferred to use an all wool. And West Yorkshire Spinners is fairly reasonably priced, and they had some good colours as well. So that's what I've used. But you could use any high wool content yarn that would do in the right colours. So it's turned out quite a nice project. So I might have to do one for myself or Mr. W. Who knows? It'd have to be a big one because I do need lots of presents. So there we go. There is one of my Christmas projects finished. Hurrah, hurrah. Well, nearly finished apart from the bits. Now all I have to do is the rest. Anyway, I hope you've had a fantastic week and enjoy doing things here and there, be knitting and crochet. Please share with us what you're doing because it's nice to see what you're up to. And yes, I hope you have a nice week. The other thing I wanted to mention was I'm looking to see what classes and workshops to do in the new year. Can you believe it? 2022. So if you fancy doing anything in particular, just give me a shout and I'll see whether I can accommodate in there. So I hope to start courses from the end of January through to the end of March with a break in for half term, and I might do some Saturday workshops as well. So if you fancy doing something, give me a shout and I'll see whether I can fit it into the program. That's all for me. Hope to see you next week. Bye.